You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show. You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching the Meta Show.
Yay, it's on. Well, kind of.
It's on, kind of. Are we live? Is that's what's?
Oh yeah, we're live. Yes.
Everybody gets a chance to see me like swilling coffee out of my NASA cup. I don't think that the chroma key is working. I see myself.
It's not perfect, but I didn't want to make you invisible. It's because it looks so much fuzzier than what Skype or what Discord would do, but it's better than nothing at the moment. So.
Oh man. Well, so yeah, we're in an interesting situation. So yeah, getting some resubs there already. Penguin Bacon resub for Boat. That is awesome. Welcome back.com as well. So we have. I tried to load Skype today. Like I've been hosting the show for the last like 3 months or so while Boat has been in Australia, and you know, since I've only had the camera pointed at me, I've had it easy, unlike what Boat does every time. Boat always has to do a lot more work to get my mug and his mug on. And I tried to use Skype on my computer today, and logged on and said the Skype was just unavailable. Like it just wouldn't go on for whatever reason.
Yes,
and so we're using some sort of random thing that Jay and Boat found called Talkie or whatever.
Yeah, it's literally called Talkie. It's kind of hilarious.
I have no idea. It's like Hangouts, but ghetto. I guess.
It is really, because the quality of the video is about as ace as it comes. The granularness of your head is hilarious, which is why
I love having a grainy. It's very retrofuturism. That's excellent. I'll lean in more so everybody can see.
Skype are so much clearer. The chroma key works so much better with it, but it doesn't matter. So, hi, I'm home. Yeah, I've been gone for 3 months.
Tell us what happened, dude. I mean, I had to field so many questions.
I was supposed to be gone a month, and till like January the 15th or something like that. But then over New Year's I got engaged, so
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It was nerve-wracking. Like I asked her father, and I don't even remember what he said. Like I was that nervous, but I'm pretty sure he said yes, because I showed him the ring and he thought it was awesome. So, and then her mom loved it, and like all her family, and she hates surprises, so like everybody knew. And we were in Melbourne for New Year's, and they had the big fireworks thing on every building, like you could see it on the whole rooftops and all that shit. And so I asked her then, right before the fireworks. So it was pretty awesome. And then
I assume she said yes.
Oh yeah, she said yes. That was like at first she was like, "Wait, what? Are you serious?" Yeah. So it was nice, and she loved the ring. Her sister thought it was really awesome. Her sister liked me, so it was really cool. And it was nice. I mean, Melbourne's full of hipsters, and it's kind of a weird place, but I think I went there 7 different times while I was on vacation. Besides the engagement, like, I was like, after the engagement was over, after Christmas was over, I was supposed to go home, and then she's like, could you stay longer? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And 1 month turned into 3. So I just took time off. I was like, yeah, I'm staying there. So it was pretty freaking amazing.
That's excellent.
Yeah, the best part, though, besides the engagement and spending time with her, was I got to see these penguins. And we talked about this yesterday on my show. You're going to love this. They're called fairy penguins. They're about a foot long, or for the Europeans watching the chat, about 30 centimeters, and really fat, like these fat penguins. And they're genetically coded to be dumb. Like, you're going to love this. So, They go from like on the beach. There's the population's about 4,000, right? It's the only known like community of these penguins in the world left. So they start up on the beach, up in their like little like where they live, like say half a kilometer from the beach, right? They walk down to the beach, go swimming. They spend the entire day at sea fishing, and then they come back at like right at dark. So like on the clock. When it's nighttime, they walk in. So if nighttime's like 8:46, that's when they start walking on the beach. If it's 8:36, that's when they start walking. Every day's different, but they've got it down to like a science, the guys that watch it. Anyway, these penguins are genetically coded to be dumb because the path they take to the from the beach, like where they live, to the water is the same every day the rest of their lives. So if they walk the wrong way, half a kilometer, and then go to the beach, they will literally do that route, the exact steps, every day the rest of their life. So it's so hilarious. So even if like all their friends are like, dude, you're going the wrong fucking way. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm going the right way. That's what they do. It's great.
That's really strange. Also, thank you to Melkaya who just subscribed. And let's see. So one of the things we started doing, Bode, and I'm gonna like let you know because so the last 15 minutes of every meta show, we slip it over to subscribers only mode. So when we do Q&As, so when we get to the so we're trying to do more for the subs. So we want to thank people who are subscribing and make sure that they get a chance to chat with cool kids only. We also have some new emotes that are on the way. I just decided to flip a table, and we're going to add some classics like Toot and Sun and V and Cripes. I don't have a design for Cripes yet, but it's going to be on the list. So we can sort of swap out some of our random ass emotes on the channel to things that'll be familiar to everybody. But yeah, let's talk about some EVE Online shit. Do we have we've got Jay, but we don't have a nameplate for him.
I'm here.
Oh, I do have a nameplate.
One thing about those penguins, Bo, it sounds like when you land your fleet on the wrong gate and half of them jump through.
Yeah, it can be.
What it sounds like.
The thing about those penguins is, to be honest, they're just so cool.
Bo's adding my nameplate, so he's like quiet because he's contemplating.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what I'm doing. Sorry, I'm adding your nameplate. But no, the penguins are fucking amazing. We were sitting like 10 feet from them, and it's called the Penguin Parade on Phillip Island. If you've never seen it, worth going if you go to Australia. They literally walk like next to you, and they like do this little hobble thing, and it's so cute. It's like the best thing ever. It's so awesome.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
All right. So Eve stuff. I mean, have you been paying attention? Like, what was it like in Australia? 3 months without Eve. Were you paying attention to what was going on, or?
Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? No, I didn't even like. I barely looked at the computer. Like the only time I looked at Eve is when you guys failed at killing a cube star, and I mocked you openly. That was about the only time, and that was because she had to go to work, so I had nothing else to do for like 6 hours. And like I was on pins and needles for about 3 hours, and then I realized we were not going to kill it at all, and I was like, yeah, fuck this. I kind of caught the K-color here and there, so I knew what was going on. And you guys had to do burn Jita a week before I fucking got home. What the hell? Why couldn't you wait a week? Like, you literally could have just waited like 3 days, and I would have done it when I got home. But no, you had to go without me, and I couldn't like stream it or anything. I was all excited to get drunk and stream it and run around in my spaceship, but no, you had to go do it without me, and I heard it went really well, by the way.
I didn't get a chance to join Jita either because it was basically set up based upon the Minilove FCs and when the FCs for Minilove can do it, and so a lot of the directorate was well, a few people in the directorate, I should say. A lot of us were in a few of us were in Tampa. For Ice Swarm.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to that, but I was
like missed out on that too. But yeah, Burn Jita was absolutely fantastic. We broke 700 billion ISK this time in the face of opposition. Like in the past, they've had a few like anti-ganking things, but apparently Pandemic Legion literally can't do anything in EVE Online without waiting for us to do it. So we started doing something, and Pandemic Legion then decided that they wanted to try to stop us, which they didn't do. But they heard lots of worse about getting in our way. So unfortunately, we had tried to break 800 billion, and instead we only came out above 700 billion this time. So
yeah, only. Yeah, I mean,
it's still the biggest burn jitter. Boney says 738 is their estimate at the minute.
Yeah, so I gave a link there to the Burn Jita thing. We also want to give a shout out to Theta Dudes, did their own little mini campaign. So Theta on their own targeted pod shuttles scepters and killed about 10 billion themselves. And here's a link to that if you wish to read that. The interesting thing about Burn Jita is, all the way back to the first one, is you always had groups that would try to form fleets to come in and stop the ganking, especially with war decking. They would try to war deck. But the PL thing was kind of hilarious to watch from the outside, because it was the last weekend I was in Australia, so I was checking up on Reddit. And it seemed like it was like these few 3 or 4 people organizing the PL side, and it's always the same dudes who don't ever have any fun unless the content's already going on, and they show up to either try to ruin the content, which is fine. I mean, it's part of the game. But they don't ever seem to invent their own shit to do. It's like, hey, look, these other guys are having fun, so let's go join in on that. Maybe we'll get attention drawn to us or something. Like, PL used to be different.
Well, they did 3 Macarials, so, you know, that clearly made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, they were smug posting about this one they killed, and their, like, little battle report, and I was just like, oh, God. Yeah.
Well, we have Michael Tyndall, of course, was the famous, thank you, John Harley, the famous poster during that. Michael Tyndall lost a freighter, I believe it was a freighter that he lost, and then just wouldn't shut up for God only knows. It was basically like the entire time this guy was just like having a total meltdown, and wouldn't shut up. It was fantastic. So
the one that gets me is the idea that Burn Jita was always, at least in my eyes, from the day one, was all about their, like, all of 00 verse high sec. So it was really kind of laughable that PL would be about trying to ruin an event like that, considering they were one of the ones that originally were at Burn Jita 1, and it was like PL and us, and I think the old NC, and I think the only ones that weren't allowed to do it were this
FCon.
one shitty alliance that said they couldn't shoot neutrals or some shit like that. And then, like, their alliance would... They would make
had
alts.
honor. They had
well, no,
honor.
it was great. Like,
you
all
goons
their...
didn't have any honor.
At the time, see, FCon wasn't always in blithering idiots. There were some people in FCon that were pretty competent, and those guys specifically made alts with goon names in them just to come on the ops. So it was... yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to get into it. People are dumb. Also, Jay, I have your nameplate wrong. I'm fixing it.
This is kind of interesting, actually. There's this dude who keeps asking me, Scriven system, yes, I am the Matani. He keeps asking in chat, like, is this really the Matani, or just somebody with a similar nickname? It's kind of a strange question. There's not many people.
Well, I mean, I have been around for 3 months.
Is this really the Matani on the Matani? Oh, it's not the Matani.com anymore, is it? But
yeah, but you know, we do have a nameplate there with, you know, the Matani.
Yeah, I mean, it literally says his name, the Matani. Just like it says the big red boat, really weird nerds.
He thought the Matani was old. I am old. I'm ancient.
Fine, Jackal Eve.
I am. That's actually one of the creepiest things. So at Ice Storm, we had a dude who was 18 years old turn up, and so
wait, what?
Yeah. And he started playing Eve when he was 15. Like, he looked a little young, but I was like, okay. And it turns out that he's, like, you know, in college. Eve, the demographic, of course, is like 37, 38 years old is the median age of your average Eve player. And so, like, okay, there's this dude. He's been in Karma Fleet for 3 years. He's basically, like, grown up through his formative years, kind of in Goonswarm. And, you know, he's rolling around with us, and we got him into his baby's first goth industrial, like, club, so he's like seeing all these crazy fucking things, and he took to it like a fish to water. He did really well, but it was one of those things where he, like, asked me how old I was or something, and I realized that he's actually old enough, and now I'm old enough to he could be my kid.
This is amazing. We have the get out emote now. They just showed it. I think that's
nice.
Yeah, I think we've had Get Out for a while.
Oh, I didn't see it. That's new to me. Okay, I was all excited. I see Frog out there, and I'm like, ooh, Frog out, yay.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. We have a B since you've been gone, and we're gonna strip out some of these other, like, random emotes to have things that are actually like culturally appropriate.
I got a story
like
for you.
Getting a V and Son. You got a story for me?
Yeah, I didn't share this last night, but do you remember a very, very old goon spy by the name of Kai Manra? He was a spy in EXE.
Yeah.
I got to meet him while I was in Australia. One of the Australia, like, meetup people. Can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head because I'm bad with names, but he set up Melbourne Meet. They do one, like, once a month, and there was like 15 dudes there, and Kai was there. Apparently he lives, like, right nearby. So yeah, we got to chat, and it was pretty awesome. And he he was telling me about what he does now, and I'm gonna share a story that I probably shouldn't share, but I'm gonna share it anyways because this guy's a douchebag. Apparently, Sort Dragon got pissy that like 4 or 5 people came and hung out with me while I was in Melbourne. It was like, why are you bothering to go hang out with Bone? Don't you have better things to do to hang out with him? And apparently he got pretty uppity. For those that don't remember, about a year ago, last FanFest, he told his members to not hang out with goons at FanFest, to avoid goons, and to what's the best way to do that. So I thought that was kind of funny that a bunch of them came up to me at the meetup like, so, you're Boat, and Sort told us not to hang out with you, but fuck him. So that was hilarious.
Your TG members are looking to join the Karma Phase recruiting.
What's funny, too, is like a majority of them are VDD guys. And one of the dudes that was there he went up to my fiance and he's like, I recognize you. Oh, yeah, all your Facebook friends in high school are my Facebook friends. And she hasn't played Eve in like 7-8 years. So it's like, wow, what a small world. But yeah,
that is cool. A thing that Corns pointed out is actually Sword Dragon tantruming about goons. He did recently kicked a bunch. So there's a Fleet Commander Discord that Sword Dragon for some reason ended up in charge of, and he threw a tantrum about a leak from it. And kicked Asher and a few other goons out of, and I believe Jay, did we actually implement this of just like having everybody leave the channel?
When was this?
This is like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, because I literally live streamed that channel every time I would stream. Like 3 months ago, I would do like a daily update. Whenever there was a big fight, I would go to that channel and then show it on stream just to shit on him because he owns half of it. The other controlling half is Doom Chinchilla, an equal douchebag in his own right. But he is at least pretty fair about who gets to hang out. And he always tries to say this is a no-leak zone, so I leak it anyways. Like right now, let's see here. Oh, wait. He did kick me out. What the fuck? I was gonna leak it just now, and...
Get owned, bro.
Fuck!
Alright. Well, let's talk about some EVE Online related stuff. The big news, of course, was Burn Jita. We are dealing with the aftermath of the Citadel changes, which have gone through, and we're staring down the barrel of the big March patch. Do we have a date for the March patch yet?
Oh, that is this week's CCP Please.
Oh, cool! I can press the button. Hold on, I'm gonna press the button.
Press the button, bro.
Oh yeah, I got a button here.
Can you link me the actual Metashow document, because that might come in. There it is. I got it. Sorry, you already did. I'm just bad. Burn Jita 5. That's right, and we actually do have some EVE news. That's excellent.
Yeah, there is actual EVE things here. So, what's this about Cicid, Mr. J Amazingness?
Well, we're before we do that, we're going to do the CCP please thing, because the CCP thing is secede.
I don't fucking know what this place is called. Lowsec names. It's been a running joke. Oh, thanks, Anominate, by the way. It's been a running joke in EVE that I can't pronounce any of the Lowsec names ever. Period. Oh, but CCP please. Can I rant? Am I allowed to rant now?
I don't know. The biggest thing that we're talking about here is that we don't have a release date for the March changes. That's got the changes to jump range, or rather jump fatigue, the ship balance, and the new FC monitor ship. I have no idea what you're going to rant about, Boat.
I'm going to rant about like 4 or 5 things. Yeah, I've been paying attention a little bit here and there. But let me fucking tell you how much I'm going to rant. CCP are out of their goddamn minds. I said this yesterday live on the CCP channel. That new ship is about the dumbest fucking thing they have ever concocted in 10 years of me playing this game. I officially hit 10 years last August. I'm almost 11. Them motherfuckers, what the fuck are they smoking with that ship? Like, for one, the game's a sandbox, right? That ain't no sandbox ship. You can't shoot anybody in that motherfucking ship. All you get to do is tank and probe. What else is it supposed to do? It's not like my Titan. I can go camp a gate, I can put on some rocket launchers, and I'm gonna blow up a frigate. I can't do that in that ship. What the fuck? It's so broken. It feels like it's like pandering, is that the best word? To a very subset of EVE, right? Like, you get like a very small group that maybe streams, so they need an FC ship so they don't get headshot. People that stream fights. Someone's playing now in chat. It can't tank. Well, then what the fuck's the point of the ship? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's like half and half. Like that's kind of one of the things that we talked about with it is like it isn't really optimized to either shield or armor. It has both shield and armor, and you can't really like tweak it one way or the other. So it's just sort of bad at both.
Yeah. So that's the first rant. The second rant. I'm glad they haven't have a release date because the changes are bad. Like the changes at this moment, they're nerfing my two favorite things in EVE. Two favorite things. They're nerfing capture the iHub, formerly known as Fortizar. They're making that easier to do, I guess. I read a patch note somewhere about that, or an INN article about something about Fortizar changing a little bit.
Are you about to say that you don't like the change to remote?
No, I hate it. No, I hate it. I think it's ridiculous. I love Fortizar the way it is. I think capture the flag is a great concept.
I can never tell whether you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I've said this on this show for a year, and everyone thinks I'm joking. No, I really do like it. Mind-numbing, boring content in a game like EVE Online is a staple, and it should stay.
I can't tell if you're trolling.
And the second thing, jump fatigue.
I've missed you,
They're
bro.
nerfing fucking jump fatigue. I enjoy jump fatigue, and here's why. Here's why I enjoy it. Because I'm an idiot. I like flying spaceships like idiots. Okay? I'll park my Leviathan out of gate. I bubble myself. I don't fit a Sino, and I go, come get me. The problem is, if they nerf my jump fatigue, PL's gonna show up one day from like 8 regions away, and they're gonna kill me. And then I'm gonna be like, what the fuck, CCP? I thought I was supposed to protect my region, and now I'm dead. It's ridiculous. Oh, hey guys! Would you like some dank leaks? I just got dragged back into a channel, so I'm gonna leak. But yeah, but no,
I don't. We've been doing the meta show with mostly like me and Asher for the last 3 months, and so I've forgotten
I heard a lot of things
what it's
about this meta show.
To co-host with Boat. I don't know what to say.
This was too much to handle. I heard you guys were too serious for this. So.
I honestly I can't tell if you're joking or not. I mean, I personally I'm a big fan of the changes.
No, I mean look,
with the exception of the Monitor FC ship, I think that was if they want to restrict choice for it, they could come out with an armor version of it and a shield version, such that they just tweak the statistics, such that it actually fulfills its purpose as something that can tank. I think it was good to see that they responded to feedback and added a probe option to it. But
yeah, no, I do
it just doesn't stand up under heavy fire currently.
I'm talking
but I'm a huge fan of the Fortizar changes.
Okay, the Fortizar, I was joking just a tad bit. I mean, I do like the remote rep concept. The issue can be while it's great that they can remote rep it, capturing might be a little bit of a pain in the ass, because while ships that like triage are really hard to jam, so it's really hard to prevent someone from repping it if you really want to do like a skirmishy bit. So that might be a little bit interesting to see how that goes. But no, serious, the what's it called? Jump fatigue changes. I don't really like them. It's already to a point now where a group of 100 bombers and a couple of Black Ops can terrorize one select region and make that region pretty low on the amount of making money. Let me just look up in the north. Outside of Branch, Horde had to move away from Fade to get away from all the harassment from our SIGs and squads that weren't even really there. They ran the Geminate under the cover of the RMT Empire, so I mean that says a lot. I mean, Horde made its name in Fade and had to abandon it due to the strain of what fatigueless fleets can look like, and now you're gonna drop fatigue even more. I think that kind of really hampers CCP's plan, because if you look at the monthly economic report, which we'll get to in a little bit here, they're really getting to a point in the game where a region of really dense group of people can self-sustain, right? You're seeing less imports from Empire to Delve, and even less exports out. So it's all staying internal, and the amount of money making is internal. So you're seeing a point where CCP is finally getting to the plan. Delve is the plan, people. CCP had talked about this for like 6 years. They want a self-sustaining 0-0, and Delve is paving the way, as it were. The problem is, you remove jump fatigue that much, Black Ops battleships are gonna have like 0 fatigue all the time, especially bridging. So that'll be kind of a broken way to handle it.
It does seem a little bit odd. I mean, I'm in favor of getting rid of space aids to a certain level, like maybe having a limit on how much you can actually jump. The general curiosity about these changes are the fact that it's all or nothing, right? CCP implemented space aids and they made it almost impossible to really use reliably your capital ships except within an area like Delve, and then they're changing it and they're removing so much jump fatigue that it's almost like the mechanic has been edited out of the game. Now that's not entirely true, of course, because the game there are upper limits to how much you can jump at any given time, but it is very all or nothing.
All right, hold on. We're about to have some dank leaks.
I heard you go, ooh, boat.
Yeah, because we're about to have some dank leaks. Just give me a second. I'm in the process.
Now you're just showing me live on stream here with the talkie thing, and nobody can actually see the meta show.
Yeah,
hello, everybody.
We're getting there. Don't worry. I'm getting there. Hold on. I'm getting there.
I have no idea what is going on. Everybody's looking at CSM.
Boat,
what are you?
Dank leaks live on chat.
Get kicked out of that channel, Boat.
That'd be terrible. I thought that we actually.
So, I heard about this drama with this channel. Hold on one second, guys.
You got to make it bigger that people can actually see it on stream, because right now I think it's too small. But
okay, so here's what you're looking at. So that you see on screen here, this is the Sort Dragon CSM CCP stuff, where basically Doom Chinchilla gets to chat with CSM representatives about why he thinks shit's broken and to take the CCP to fix. So that's that channel. I heard a rumor that this is the channel that sparked a lot of controversy on Reddit, where Doom was basically saying this sort, look, this shit's broken, go to CCP and get this shit fixed, go.
That's right. That's the place where whenever anything happens that
so here's that one. Dragon. And then they have this other channel. It's called Experiment. I don't know what this is. It's full of like I guess Sort thinking he's cool. I don't know, but yeah. So apparently this channel gets boring. So I'm gonna share the boring shit while we continue our discussion. Sort just literally added me back in here because I'm back active, but I feel like sharing it with everyone. So
that or he just wanted you to show it off such that he looks like he's active and engaged.
No, he literally added me back in because someone said, "Look, Boat's active, add him back in." So I'm not supposed to share it, but I don't give a fuck.
Well, we are. Let's talk about the monthly economic report.
Yeah. So to do that, we have to press another button. Just give me 1 second.
Now that we're shifting over to there. I don't know if people can actually read that or not. I can sort of see it actually.
I can read. Don't worry, I'll make it. Don't worry.
It's just nothing interesting.
It's just Doom Chinchilla whining about stuff whenever anything doesn't go.
Yeah. The reason I was showing it, the reason I was showing it is, I got kicked. They kicked me that quick. Good. I
Excellent.
Got kicked out. That's what
job
I
done.
To happen. Good job, Bo.
Okay.
Monthly economic report.
So yeah, the monthly economic report comes out again. And Querns, as he points out in chat, is a monthly economic report in the real world, which is awesome. But yeah, we've found out that Goonswarm, or actually not just Goonswarm, the entire Imperium, has made Delve almost as productive as the Forge. So we are just an inch away from truly beating Jita and its denizens as
always one more inch with you, isn't it? You're never satisfied.
I am never satisfied.
So,
it's true.
To give you
always
an idea,
more.
I linked the image of it all, but to give you an idea that something really interesting that kind of stuck out here, Providence exports are extremely on the up and up with the mass evacuation of Providence going down right now. 15.7 trillion ISK has been pulled out of Providence this month.
That doesn't surprise me.
What the hell happens? I go away for a day and apparently Providence is dying.
You've missed this. Oh yeah, Pio and Citadel sitting on the region. I forgot. It's weird because Bo's been away for so long. He's just
you're like, what happened to Providence? And we're like,
I come back and half the map's got PL on it. I'm like, oh, did they leave the north? What the hell's going on?
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean that makes a lot of sense. Like they went to Providence and helicopter dicted, and Providence lost Jintan joined test, which made a lot of people from Providence send him death threats and shit like that. I don't know if they actually sent him death threats. I saw that he received some nasty messages.
That would be surprising after we've seen what the type of stuff Test does. I mean, this game, who knows? None of this shit's surprising me anymore.
But Gen 10 is in test, and yeah, Pravi evacuating everything makes perfect sense.
Well, right before I left, they were talking about getting Gen 10 into NC Dot. So I mean, Test is no, I guess, less different than joining NC Dot. I guess I know Gen 10 was pretty tired of the bureaucracy in Pravi. Like, it was to the point where Gen 10 wanted to get involved in a war, and his CEOs were like, "No, fuck you." And he's like, "Okay, well, then I'm gonna go help CO2 and fly a Dread in CO2." And then they're like, "No, fuck you." And he did it anyways. If you remember that one fight where it's like all CO2 and then one Gen 10 Dread, and it's like, wait, what the fuck's going on? He's like, "Oh, Judge gave me a free Dread. That's why I'm here." So, the interesting thing about this economic report, you'll notice here too, if you go through the image, even if you go through the actual economic report itself, is that Test and GOTG have a lot of exports. And the reason that they do that is they also have a lot of imports. They're like their own home regions aren't self-sustaining. So they make a shitload of money off of mining and ratting, and then they ship it to Jita as fast as possible to make money there, because there's no one at home to buy it. Like, anyone that would be making money is, in Test case, is deployed up in Catch, right? They're fighting with NC Dot. And anyone in GOTG is just bad at life. So, I doubt they're making any money there either.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how things are going. The Legacy Coalition, which is the formal name of the entity surrounding Test, which includes Brave, I don't know if they're going to end up getting many people from what was left of Providence, or what's going to happen over there.
I see Providence dying out. Like, this, it's not even that a lot of people say, "Oh, look, not red, don't shoot" doesn't actually work. It's just going to die out. But it's Providence worked because they had a bunch of people that were like, it was almost like the Church of Scientology, right? They were kind of you're in a situation where if you're not part of the same group for 10 years, you tend to get ostracized. I mean, look at Gen 10. You said you get death threats. I mean, you see what happens when people leave the church. And so you look at Pravi, and it's just the only reason Pravi has survived for as long as have, and even a couple of their CEOs that's been on the Meta Show in the past year said this, that nobody ever wants the space.
Yeah, it's a relevant space, as Corrence is pointing out here. Like, yeah, there's it could exist because the other time in EVE history where Pravi got rolled was right after CCP added anomaly upgrades to iHubs back in the Dominion system, and for a time you could take even the worst space in the game and make it valuable. So instantly, Providence became something that you could actually upgrade, and Manny, who is quite a figure in EVE history at this point, Manny was leading AAA at the time, Manfred Sidious, and just instantly went next door and turned Pravi into a AAA-controlled parking lot because suddenly it was valuable. Then you saw CVA return because once dear old CCP Grayscale nerfed iHub upgrades, Pravi went back to being an irrelevant shithole, and then everybody just gave up on it.
And that's the interesting thing, too, about Pravi, is that Pravi has never been, since the days of RA. I mean, during RA's time, back when RA was in its prime, Providence was a kind of a feared force, because you had the Rooks and Kings leadership, and Rooks and Kings FC guy was in CVA at the time. And there's a really famous video about the triage ship that comes out of Providence fighting RA, like CVA. This is like 10 years ago, right? Back when Thanatoses were triage machines. But since then, they've just been kind of there because no one wants it. Case in point, when we glassed the region and blew up every iHub and cost like 700 billion in damage, and then we left. And they rebuilt it within a day. I mean, it's like
they still see that as a real invasion. Like, we explicitly said, explicitly said
concept. It's like, hey,
that it was like testing the nuclear weapons in the Bikini Atoll.
Yes,
like, we're going like, hey, we don't know how this Dominion stuff. I mean, how this Fozzysoft stuff works. Let's go test it on fucking Providence.
It was after we fucked with Aquarius. I was like, look, you can really burn a region in a day if we really wanted to. And you're like, let's go find out. And to be honest, Gikex was one of the few of people outside, like, in our coalition at the time, who was actually excited to do it. He brought down all of CO2, And
then they didn't do it. What was
well,
interesting,
they came
like
down and
we were
didn't do any of the soft stuff, but they came down in like ships, and it was just hilarious just how fast we wiped the motherfucker out. Yeah, Malor
we divvied it up. Actually, we were talking about this on the Meta Show. Asher was pointing this out a few weeks ago. It was an interesting test case on Fortizar. So with the coalition, which was still the CFC at the time, we had divvied up every single constellation within Providence was assigned to a CFC alliance, and we wanted to see if we could try to use like coalition distribution to take a region. And every single entity in the CFC, it might have been the Imperium at the time, I forgot. It was around the time of the
CFC. We were still CFC, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Every single entity, including SMA, actually managed to get their objectives and their targets of blowing up Providence iHubs. The only entity in the CFC that failed at actually doing their constellation was fucking CO2.
Yeah, they sucked at the solve stuff. I just remember them bringing lots of ships.
That's because they didn't deploy it. They went back to Venal to take their fucking money moons.
Oh, right. Yes, because of
we deployed and then they fucked off.
Yeah, they had to go back home. But that was like a proof of concept.
They had to go.
Yeah. But you could glass a region, and ever since then, it's just a matter of time. I remember, didn't we joke on the show? I mean, for months about who's going to own Provi, just take all their stations and collect them as trophies. And it appears PL is going to be the ones to do it because. Do we even know when that patch is coming? Like, when do we get to take trophies?
Well, that's the thing is that like the Provi guys were saying
back and push back and push back.
Exactly. Right. Like, I think we'll see it in a couple of years, maybe. It's kind of like buildable Stargates at this point.
I think we see it in a couple of months, and here's why: PL now owns Provi, so now all of a sudden it's gonna happen, and then they're gonna after it put it into place, they're gonna be like, oh shit, this shit's broken, we need to stop it for a little bit. But by then, Provi will be cleared out and.
I'm
sorry, conspiracy theorist here. Sorry.
I wish I could go into the whole like CCPPL kind of conspiracy stuff, but I just don't really buy it anymore.
I do because just recently, what was it that happened? The fight over y'all's Keepstar, where none of the fighters and fighter bombers worked, and I read the Reddit thread, over 1,000 posts about how goons should have known better, trebuchet carriers wouldn't work. Trebuchet, supers wouldn't work. But here's the problem with that. Trebuchet, supers, titans, carriers, that shit worked great with 5,200 people in local when the M-O Keepstar died. There was no problem with that shit the first 2 reinforcement timers with all those people there. Supers and fighters specifically the fighters, have always worked in extreme tie-dye. It was the guns they wouldn't fire sometimes, or the ships wouldn't sino in, but the fighters and shit always worked. So that was why it was very weird that they just didn't happen to work for that event.
There's something wrong with your webcam, but I don't see your tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man. I can get it out. It's right over there.
I was actually there for that fight and on the field, and I don't think there was a conspiracy there. I think that the servers just had, we packed so many people into that thing. And the other thing is like Keepstar is like an actual gunned Keepstar as opposed to like GigX not really fighting back in MTACO.
It's
a totally different proposition.
Back. So we
found I heard about this.
We found out months later through a very ex-PLFC who had logs. They had discovered a way to make it so a Keepstar wouldn't fire. And it would bug out, and you couldn't control it. And I remember it very clearly. We were streaming that final blow up. GigX saying, I can't shoot anything. I can't DD. I can't do nothing. It's not working.
If you assigned drones, they wouldn't fire.
Yeah, it had something to do with the assistance of drones. And so I think it was Killa B. He can correct me if I'm wrong. That came out and said we'd found that out right before that happened. And then like a week later, they patched it. So the Keepstar wasn't able to shoot back. That's why GigX didn't fight over it. And that leads me to my next rant, since we're talking about Keepstars. Why are Fortizars so fucking horrible? Today I watched that that eviction that went down in what's that place called in the wormhole space where that group was getting evicted. They had triage.
That group.
I don't remember. They're called PsyOps or Psy or something like that. I don't know
that
what the fuck they
group
are.
in that wormhole
But,
with that.
look, it was being live streamed. I don't fucking know who they are. I just know what's happening. But the point is, all their shit was in Reinforce. They were getting evicted. A group showed up with 80 max, 40 Logi, okay, which is a minor fleet in my mind. Very minor. 120 dudes. And they were able to kill a Fortizar while that Fortizar was fighting back. While that Fortizar had about 50 max defending it with Logi and carriers. And you mean to tell me that the Macarial fleet, the one side that had the 80 max, they didn't lose a single Macarial? What kind of fucking gimp shit is that Fortizar that it can't even kill a single ship? Like, what the fuck? What's the point of having them? I mean, just my opinion. They kill Dreads, sure, but when subcaps can kill it that easy, like, it just seems underwhelming for a 20 billion-ish thing.
I'm kind of curious about, in general, if people have noticed a huge purge after the big Citadel patch. I mean, that happened just a few weeks ago. And, right after the patch went in, there was a whole pile of Citadels that had been unfueled went boom.
Yeah.
But like one of the things that we've noticed in Imperium territory is it reminded me of when the siphons were added to EVE. So when siphons were first added, which are actually kind of forgot about this because we stopped having moon mining, but the fact that we don't use moon miners anymore means that siphons don't really exist anymore, do they? But when siphons first went in, they were everywhere. Like, it was a big hot new feature, and like, every single moon had siphons on them, like fucking
oh yeah, it was all the time.
Flies on shit. And then pretty rapidly after a couple weeks, people were like, oh, whatever. And then you just stopped really seeing them being used actively. They were still pain in the ass for logistics people everywhere.
Goons.
I know. It's true. We did it a lot with siphons. But what's interesting about like what I'm kind of curious if people in chat have things that they can say about this is, like, we haven't really seen much in terms of active reinforcement of our citadels. Like, you can reinforce any citadel anywhere at any time. And at first, we had tons of reinforcement when the patch hit. Running around putting out fires, and it seems to have just sort of stopped. Like, people kind of forgot about the novelty seems to have worn off about, hey guys, you can go reinforce the citadel.
I'm really hoping
one of the great things because of that though is because you can still use alphas to gun citadels. So you just log in your alpha clone when you see the citadel is being shot notification.
That's true. Like, alpha clones allow you
you just asked the question, but so hoping that everyone would respond. You changed
I did change it to subscribers only mode. I asked the question, and now you can only provide your feedback if you're a subscriber. So
here's my question, and this is where I think CCP have screwed the pooch, and maybe we'll see FanFest roll around and they'll announce a new change to this. But compare a Fortizar, a really well done up Fortizar, like mine, for example, the Bodazar, the first Fortizar to be dropped in proper Delve. It's 25 billion-isk. It's got a nice fit. It's set up to blow up as many subcaps as humanly possible, because I don't fear dreads in Delve. What are they going to do, siege on my Fortizar? Oh no, here comes everybody. But I fear subcaps. I fear a fucking Confessor fleet showing up. Thank you, Bingo. But I can't kill Confessors with my Fortizar. It's that powerful, right? Or I said lack thereof. But then you look at old Poss, a big old Death Star from the old days. You wouldn't dare, in your wildest dreams, park a Confessor fleet on a Death Star. You're gonna get zapped. Small guns, they're gonna have 50 small guns on the motherfucker. It's gonna blow you up. And even if you siege it at 4 in the morning while I'm asleep, my Poss is still gonna shoot back at you. You siege my Fortizar at 4 in the morning while I'm asleep, ain't nobody gonna be there to defend it. I didn't even get a notification about it, right? So I think that's where they've got to look to change things. The Poss AI was amazing. The Poss that would go rogue and old Ironsides would shoot everybody.
Skynet. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
it would just fuck everybody up. We need that with Citadels. You shoot a Citadel, it's gonna shoot back. Like, the AI in that would be amazing. Like, if you watch the Citadel fight, like there was a Citadel fight today, it shot missiles from all different parts of the Citadel. Just imagine if you made, like, one gun less powerful, but gave it, like, 10 of them to equal one gun, and just put, like, 30 on the motherfucker, and just had it, like, what I imagined Fortizars to be, these giant death machines that, while on paper the DPS wouldn't be too huge, but they would have ass loads of guns and it would shoot everywhere and it would look like this giant battle going on. But no, CCP fucked it up.
Well, that's yeah. As Klotzi's pointing out here, the replacement for jump bridges to be able to fight on man. That's like one of the things about the fatigue changes that is interesting is like, one of the main reasons to live in nullsec at all is to be able to build up infrastructure. And when CCP implemented jump fatigue as harshly as they did, it became really prohibitive for people with subcaps to even bother using jump bridges. You could get like one Titan bridge, so you saw Titans getting used because you might as well just use a Titan. And I am hoping to see nullsec as a whole get more revitalization if it's easier for just folks in subcaps to use jump bridges. Currently, if people want to get from point A to point B using jump bridges, what do you have to do? You hop into a fucking industrial such that they get the fatigue reduction and bounce around in a Badger or what used to be a Badger. I still
think the best
that is changing though with the patch, right? Because there are shuttles and pods able to.
I still think the best fix they could ever do for jump bridges, and I doubt they'll ever do it because, and I'm going to put my CCP PL head on, PL hated this idea back when fatigue was first added. Fozzie really wanted to smash jump bridges. He did not like the fact that we could go from Fountain to Vale, right? So he wanted to hit jump bridges with a hammer, and the only way to get like a semblance of balance, to not make it seem impartial to just goons at the time, was to make Titans share that same fatigue with bridging. Because our enemies would Titan bridge from Fountain to Vale to hit our CSAs in Vale while we were trying to siege Fountain, and we would have to take jump bridges up, so it was like a match. So they nerfed both. But one thing they never really got a chance to look into, now that you have 0-0 being built up, is Defender Solve. And I think jump fatigue should be reduced the higher your solve level is on a system. So it promotes people to come in and snap your solve system. So like
that's an interesting idea. So like if you have a bridge that has maxed out solve, you get a higher fatigue reduction jumping from that, system.
It makes Homeland Defense better and more responsive, and you can put jump bridges all over the place. Whereas now, nobody ever takes a jump bridge. They'll take an interceptor somewhere first. Because they can get their interceptor somewhere, pick up a ship, and go 10 times faster than a jump bridge because of the fatigue. And the real big place with this would be huge is Delve. There's a jump bridge we use, a couple of jumps from our staging, that takes the trip to catch down from like 32 jumps to 15. Like it just cuts it in half. And if you didn't have to have an hour jump fatigue, you could go do that multiple times and go enjoy it.
I don't think that jump bridge, like the fatigue around that, is the problem. It's the stigma that fatigue has, is where, I've got 1 hour of fatigue on this op, but there's a strat up in 2 hours. If we take a bridge on this fleet, I'm going to be fucked for the op,
Yeah.
It's an opportunity cost.
You also have FCs who will strictly tell their, or not FCs, CEOs and leaders will tell their members, don't go fatigued on that fun op because we have a strat op in an hour and you need to be ready for that one. And it limits,
because they want to get strat paps and
things like that. And you'll see a lot of people, and I've noticed this the first day I was back. I was like, Test is having a fight with NC Dot. Let's go join in. And we got like 30 people, and most of the comments from the people that showed up were like, we're worried about fatigue and not being back for a strat op. But if you didn't have to worry about fatigue as a defender, because all you do is you go fatigueless, you leave your space, and you may get fatigue from a Titan bridge outside your home, so it makes projecting power harder. But inside your home, I don't think there should be. It's almost like, imagine a modern, I say modern, like a game like Freelancer, where it had those little gates you could go between inside a solar system.
A modern game like one that came out 10 years ago.
Yeah, but anyways, in the game, it had these little insta-warp things that would allow you to go in between a solar system really fast. But then as you jumped out of the solar system, you'd have to take this giant wormhole, right? So you put that into Eve's concept. Inside your own space that your alliance owns, the fatigue is reduced, and you can go from A to B really quickly and not have any downsides. But once you leave your space, then you get the fatigue that you would otherwise acquire. It balances out, because then capitals still have a big fatigue, jumping here and there. But I think it fixes jump bridges. Maybe it's Sino beacons.
I have a couple questions here. So one of the things I want to throw out to Tyrannus, thanks for the sub, I want to throw out for our subscribers is we are looking to do more interesting things for subs. Like if there is a thing that you would like to see us do on the show or on the channel in general that we are not doing right now. Like I assumed that having more Goonie emotes would be a cool thing, but I don't know if anybody who is subscribing to the channel actually cares about that. So if there's things that other channels are doing that you're subscribed to, do that you like that we are not doing, I'd love to see some advice or feedback in chat because we're looking to just make it more worthwhile. We appreciate the support. You don't have to subscribe to the channel, but you do. So we want to actually figure out what we're not doing that we could be doing.
And since we don't go to LoSec ever, I'm going to use this really cool international button to showcase a place that we don't normally go to talk about this one fight that went down.
Are you gonna go to Iceland, by the way, Bode?
I am not going to Iceland, but I did have someone ask me last night if they would want me to. He wants to video Iceland, like do a live broadcasting as he walks around, kind of thing. He's a really cool goon, and so I told him to get in touch with Matterall because he wants to do like videography and then submit it to us for us to have like a daily report kind of thing. So I thought that would be pretty neat to put up on INN. So I'm having him get in touch. So he's going, but I can't go this year. I got too much shit to deal with. I got to get a visa. Apparently visas are like $4,000.
So what's that like in Australia? Like, so you're gonna get married and then do you get to just
it's
go
actually
there,
kind of
or
weird. So their school year starts in January. So I'm gonna keep teaching here until I get the job there. The school year starts January. Kai Monroe, my friend, from old times, actually taught primary school for 10 years.
And sweet.
Knows everything about it. So he gave me a lot of great details on how to do it. And male teachers are in extreme demand right now in Australia because of the male role model thing. They think it's lacking. So
the male role model thing?
With young kids. The idea of, hey, here's a guy, he's a strong influence on the child's learning, right? Whereas, like, in the case of a lot of female teachers, you have a situation where, like, a young boy will look at a female teacher and be like, oh, that's just like my mom, that's, I deal with that at home, school's no different. But then you get, like, a male teacher in there, and it changes that dynamic. They look at it like a father figure.
Okay, this is
anyways,
like a weird rabbit hole of
we're going
Australia.
Off the topic, but the point
is,
is,
I mean, I started this, but like
but
this is going into like a dark place.
Thing, so it's not so much dark. I'm trying to explain it, but I'm kind of zoning out because I'm tired. But basically, the way it works is they're looking for male teachers. So the thing that's amazing though, they pay their teachers on average starting pay $22,000 more a year, U.S. than we do here. So here, teachers start out at 38. They start out at 58 to 60,000.
That seems sensible. Like, if you want your children to get an education, you should pay your teachers something that makes people want to be a teacher.
And I got informed by some of my fiance's family, because they're all a bunch of them are teachers, that they have this system where you start out with like a 12-month contract, and then if the school likes you, you get permanent employment. They call it permanent employment. Is you have to murder someone to get fired. Like, their system is so lax.
So tenure, basically.
It's greater than tenure. Like, even tenure teachers can mess up to a point where they'll get, like, their heads chopped off. The way it was pointed out to me is you could pretty much tell the principal to go fuck himself, and you probably won't lose your job. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. But anyways, the way it works is come January, I have to get a visa, even if I'm married. And then the visa just becomes like a permit, but because it's a government job, it's expedited and it's done quickly. So instead of having to wait 6 months.
So you're planning on, like, the takeaway is you're moving to Australia rather than she's moving to the United States.
That's the hope. Yeah, it's just so much better there, and for as far as teaching goes. Plus, it reminds me of Florida without humidity. I mean, can you go wrong there? I mean, it's pretty,
but more spiders.
I saw one. It was about the size of my thumb. And they usually only grow about half that size, so it was the biggest one her family had ever seen. It's called a whitetail.
Wait, what are we talking about? I've just come back to the conversation.
So spiders.
As big as my thumb, and her family never seen it this big.
I saw one extremely deadly spider. It's called a whitetail, right? This thing, think our brown. You know what a brown recluse is?
Yes.
So think that on steroids. The same kind of bite, the same kind of everything. Yeah, fuck that. That thing was massive. We killed it with prejudice. Fucking burnt that motherfucker. He dead. But anyway, so move back to Eve. There's a fight that went down, and I'm gonna have Jay talk about it. It's in a place in Losec with S's in it, and I's and E's.
Secede.
Secede, yeah, that one. We got a link to the battle report here and an article. Mr. J amazing this.
Glory for the Imperium again in our Losec campaign against the Koreans of Siege Green. Basically, Snuffbox has been fighting them for a few months. Both sides have been battle-phoning pretty heavily because that's how Losec fights work. Finally, the Fortizar, I think it was their staging Fortizar, got refed by Snuffbox into final timer. And yeah, it was a pretty good fight in AUTZ, like the battle report here.
Already linked, Jay. I got it.
You already got it. So
yeah,
you see, 300 versus 302. So we were outnumbered by the siege fleet and their bat phone. Hold 2 members. They're the blobbers, but
it does look like you succeeded in having more caracals than they did. Looks like that might have been the tipping point of this battle.
It may have helped that we had Titans as well, but yeah, Titans were dropped. Dreads died. 170 Bellisk dead to like 0. I think they killed like 20 bill of glorious Imperium.
How did you bait out their caps?
I wasn't there, but I think the one side dropped triage first, and then obviously you drop dreads on the triage, and then they drop dreads on your dreads, and then
it looks like from the way the fight went down on the timeline, Snuff dropped some triage with their Max and Feroxes, and then Siege Green was like, "Oh, we can easily beat that," and dropped all of their dreads, which then prompted all of Snuff to appear. But the thing that gets me about this fight is Losec is a scary place nowadays, because even though jump fatigue is existent, Losec is one of those places where once you go there, it's easy to get home. So some people don't mind a day or two fatigue, and are willing to go all the way across Losec to say 9-4, for example, because they know they can go home in a couple of days and it's not going to really impact them at all. And so Losec's scary. I don't like fucking around with Losec no more. Even though you can DD in Losec now, unlike Asakai, this shit is dangerous. But is this the same Siege Green that our old friend from Korea, and my name is slipping right now, the gun director, the diplomat, told us
Ariston.
That said it was like a splinter group, like there's the Koreans that like each other, and then there's the other group of Koreans that don't like each other because of some like lawyer. So this is that Siege Green.
It was Ariston. It was the dude.
That's fantastic. K-Color is saying here in Elysium, why are you saying Visa wrong? And I'm not sure like if there's a different way to pronounce it or something.
Is there a different way to pronounce Visa than Visa?
Visa.
It's
Europeans and Canadians pronounce it Visa, but...
Are you serious?
Wait, really? Are you serious?
Or are you just fucking with us?
No, why would I fuck with you? I'm being totally serious.
Why wouldn't you fuck with us?
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
That's half the fun.
It's pronounced Visa for Europeans and Canadians. Weird thing that we do.
Yeah, we call it Visa, like our credit cards.
Yeah. Hell, the Australian passport people asked me if I needed to get a new visa if I wanted to stay longer, and I'm like, no.
That's fantastic. I think actually now you could just say randomly in chat, like, why are you saying whatever wrong? And are we saying it wrong?
And they'll probably go into a nice 5-minute rant about why it's wrong. Or why it's not.
Almost anything that we could do. Well, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be curious. Just the fact that we're running out of March here soon, and we still don't have a date for the big patch. That's. You know,
I thought I was gonna come home to it being done already. Like I was gone 3 months and thinking like, because they announced it 3 months ago, a long time ago, that they were gonna go really diving into fixing these things. And I was hoping to have it done by the time I got home. Because I was actually a little paranoid that I was going to come home to my Fortizar dead. Because all of a sudden everyone was going to siege them. And there was this big fear about Alpha Clone sieging. Which I don't think people have really abused yet. And I'm waiting for this. And I think that's kind of why Horde left the north. I don't think anyone talked about this. I know we're running low on time. But I don't think Horde would have been safe in the region they were in with the new Alpha Clone change mixed with the unlimited Citadel shooting, because now you can shoot Citadels unlimited, any time of the day. So all you gotta do is stick an Alpha Clone character with, say, Talos, and 20 of his buddies, and you're going to reinforce that Citadel really fucking fast. And all it takes is as soon as they leave with their big fleet to go somewhere, like an example, help the DRF, you sneak in behind them with your Alpha Clone characters, and you've already reinforced the place. You know? And you can do it any time of the day.
Something that Bingo Foxtrot and Willem Arcturus are pointing out in chat here is that the test of the new chat system didn't go as planned, and on top of that, the server's been exploding for the last few days. Like, we've had some pretty serious downtime with Eve just not being there.
Here we go. Someone linked Visa, and it's got a little audio thing, so I'm going to play it.
Visa.
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 It's Visa. Visa. Apparently, according to the Cambridge Dictionary.
Fake news.
Visa.
CypherX, I don't know why I undid that. Like, Stream Elements like freaked out and tried to time you out.
I don't. Yeah, it did that last night too, and we don't know why.
It got like 5 different. It wasn't just like he got timed out. It sent like 5 messages to moderators.
It's I think
actually now more.
bots.
Yeah, some sort of weird thing is fucked up with a bot.
Yeah, I don't know
sorry
why
about
it's doing that, but yeah, apparently I saw this. I guess the game crashed, and everyone's like, "Oh, Eve's dead," and the devs were kind of freaking out about server problems. So it's possible. I mean, while I was gone, we had that thing with what called Heartbleed happen. So maybe the fact that they lost 25% of their computing power on all of their servers made it so the new patch couldn't come out today.
Gotcha.
I'm just joking.
Well, I think we started about 5 minutes late, but now we're running about 5. I think we are about
we're pretty much done
for this week. Yeah. You know, it has been kind of a quiet week in Eve. You know, we have Wild Stories of Boat in Australia and the Tampa Ice Storm event for people in the Imperium.
I was disappointed about the Tampa thing.
Scene.
I was told you guys were going to go on a fucking pirate ship, and I was looking forward to sharing pictures, and it didn't happen. Okay, that was not. Well,
we went to one of the best goth industrial clubs that I've seen this side of like London and Manhattan back in the day when like Albion and Batcave in fucking Tampa. Like, who knew? Like, the Castle is like one of the most badass clubs that I've seen, and I had no idea that they would have a dedicated like goth industrial club in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, Tampa's all I remember about Tampa is Key Largo and retirement and old people and an industrial goth club in a city dominated by old people. It's kind of interesting. Or maybe it was a vibrant place. I didn't really think it was. I thought it was going to be full of old people, but it really wasn't. Like, the Ybor City is sort of like Bourbon Street, which is pretty badass all the way around. Yeah, Tampa does have really good sports teams, so it's possible they're starting to rejuvenize like their young scene with young people because they have the Tampa.
I don't really know how you connect. I don't know how you connect like good sports team equals good club scene.
Like, because what else are they going to do with their time besides club and spend money? I mean, you have to think about it logically with people that have lots and lots of money and nothing else to do but to do sports and drink.
Okay, well, it's now definitely a boat meta show because I am speechless. I have nothing to add or to say to that.
Yeah, it's
spent.
nice to be back, I guess.
It's good to have you back, Boat. So on that note, thanks for coming, guys, and I appreciate our subscribers for being subscribers.
Yep.
And look forward to getting you guys some cool new emotes uploaded onto the system. And we will catch you all next week. So same bad time, same bad channel.
Yeah, bye, guys.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.